Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video we're going to talk getting started with Path to Glory for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and in today's video we're going to look at the Orruk Warclans, and in particular the Ironjawz. We're going to look at how you can start an Ironjawz army with Path to Glory. I'm going to start by taking a look at what we get from an Ironjawz Orruk Warclans force, and then we're going to further look at how we go through the creation process with the 5 major steps of how to create a warband for Path to Glory, and then look at units we should start off with in our force and units we can then grab later. Finally, finishing off the video with a little sample 600-point army list for a Vanguard Path to Glory campaign that you can use to get some ideas how to build your own force, or indeed just copy ours if that's what you wish to do. And so, to start with, what exactly do we get from an Orruk Warclans army and an Ironjawz army in that? Well, Orruk Warclans is a little bit interesting. To start off with, one of the things that it has is it's actually sort of 4 allegiances in one. 3 main ones and one that's all the others combined. That one that's all of them combined is called Big War, and then you have 3 separate allegiances: Cruel Boys, Bone Splitters, and Ironjawz. Now, with these, they have their own unique set of allegiance abilities, and they don't sort of share anything between the 3 of them. So they are essentially completely separate armies. Now, each of these then has their own sub-factions they can pick, so you could class them, I guess, as subtypes of Orruk Warclans and then sub-factions of those subtypes. Now, Ironjawz are excessively combat-focused. They have no range damage pretty much whatsoever. I think the Mega Boss on Maw-Crusher is the only actual shooting attack they have available to them. They do have some magic that can do some range, but that's about it. They're a semi-elite force, and this really does depend on what units you choose to fill your army out with. Ardboys can be a lot more, I guess, horde-focused, though they can only go up to 15 models. And you're definitely, if you're going Gore Grunters or Brutes, going to have a lot less models and be a lot more elite. This is the most elite army out of any of the options for Orruk Warclans. The army is exceptionally fast-moving, and this is surprising considering it doesn't need to be fast-moving and doesn't need to have the cavalry to be fast-moving. It has access to extra piling and charges in your enemy hero phase, and some other cool things as well. So the army can move really quick without needing to actually take its cavalry options. Now, it also has some cool combat abilities where if you destroy an enemy unit, you have this cool ability called Smashing and Bashing, where you get to immediately fight with another one of your units if you destroy an enemy unit, which is pretty cool. And this can continue on. But then you've also got the Ironjawz War as well, which can give you some extra rend and some extra charge moves around your models as well, further just increasing that range threat potential of the army with its actual combat potential. Now that we've talked a little bit about this, let's go through the creation process and explain the choices we make when picking our Vanguard army. And so, to start building a Orruk Warclans Ironjawz Path to Glory force, well, step 1 is to choose your faction and your realm. Now, when you choose your faction, you must pick your sub-faction here and then, and you can't change it through the course of the campaign you're running with this particular force. For me, I like picking Iron Sons. I think this is a great all-round one that's probably going to serve you better than most of the others. A couple of the other ones are good, but you are going to need to take particular choices to make the most out of them. And I think Iron Sons just allows you to play whatever you want without sort of steering you down one particular way of playing. You get the Alright Get 'em, which is a command ability you can use at the end of the enemy charge phase, which allows one of your units to pretty much charge in your enemy's charge phase, doing some really cool supporting maneuvers there. For me, this is just the better one. You have Bloodtooth, which is sort of focused around Gore Grunters, and then you have the Choppers, which you need a couple of War Chanters in your force for. So I really just feel this one is going to give you the widest variety of lists you can run in your Path to Glory campaign and not sort of shoehorn you down one way. Now, step 2 is choose your starting size and starting territories, and in this we're choosing to start at Vanguard. If you're getting into the game, this is the easiest way to get in. At 600 points you get 1 starting territory, 6 unit starting limit, and 5 glory points. With the unit limit, this means the total number of units you can take in the army. Now, for that starting territory, there are a bunch of different options you can pick, but I think picking a small settlement is a great one, especially in Ironjawz, when you're going to want to sort of be doubling up a lot of your unit sizes. Having that extra enhanced ability to reinforce one of your units is really, really useful. Now we go on to our order of battle, where this is a maximum number of units we can include in our army. This is what we have. Now, the maximum number is determined by the starting size, which is Vanguard, so 6, as we've already gone through. And then we can have a maximum of 3 heroes in our force and a maximum of 1 of each: monsters, war machines, wizards, priests, reinforced units, and allied units, though, thanks to our small settlement, we can have 2 reinforced units rather than 1. Step 4, we go to core enhancements. Now, this is pretty simple. Core enhancements are the ones you would generally create for a match play game. So your first command trait, your first artifact, your first spell for all your wizards, your first triumph, all that sort of stuff. These are considered core enhancements, and you pick these and they remain the same for the entirety of your campaign. You can get additional artifacts and stuff later, and this will allow you to chop and change and choose what you want to take. Now, step 5 is picking your first quest. For me, I think Ironjawz really get an advantage out of the Ransack quest. This is a cool one where at the end of a Path to Glory battle where you complete the quest, if you want a major victory, you pick one territory you control that can be ransacked and follow the instructions for ransacking it on the Orruk Warclans territories table, and then remove that territory from your roster. The Orruk Warclans have a bunch of unique sort of territories that grant you a bunch of different renown and a bunch of different things, and you can ransack them. This is particularly great because you gain 5 extra glory points, and you're going to start with 5 already, and you need 10 to get an extra territory, and you get those 5 extra immediately for just playing your first game. So you're going to be able to complete this ransack really early and get that first quest done out your way, and get your ball moving, and get some story happening behind your army. But where do we go to for models in the army? Well, for starters, I'm going to suggest an Orruk Megaboss to be the leader for your force. This is a great starting place in smaller point-sized games, as you obviously haven't got enough points to fit in that Megaboss or Maw Crusher, but you can later upgrade your Orruk Megaboss to a Megaboss or Maw Crusher, keeping all the same equipment, so he's a great place to start for your general. He's pretty decent in combat as well. 7 wounds on a 3-up save, 8 attacks in combat, 3s, Ren 1, damage 2, and he's got some cool rules like Strength to Victory, where at the end of the combat phase, if he's slain any models, he add 1 to his wound and to his attacks. And then he's got other cool ability, Dead Fighty, where if this unit is destroyed in the combat phase and is not fought, it can fight. And then when you pick this unit to issue a command, you can pick 2 friendly Ironjawz units to receive that command instead. Now, for me, there are options here. I think any of these are great, and you can really dive down each path. If you've chosen to go down particular sub-factions, there may be ones of these brutes, Gore Grunters, and Arboys that get better use, but that's why we've gone for the sub-faction we have, because we feel you can pretty much choose what you want with this one and sort of play around with whatever you want to do. Now, the first unit here, these are all battle line options, except the Ironjawz and the Gore Grunters are not battle line pure. They require a different sub-faction on one to one at playing. So I think you need either one of the brutes or one of the Ardboys units, and then you're going to want your Gore Grunters in there as well. So brutes are less plentiful than your Ardboys. You're going to get half as much generally as you would for your Ardboys, but they do come with a ton of good weaponry. They've got Ren 2 available. They have a really cool rule in U Messin, where enemy models with wounds characteristic of 1, they win 3 inch of this unit, cannot contest objectives, and duff up the big thing, they get +1 to hit if they're fighting something with 4 or more wounds. All in all, a really solid unit, 3 wounds, 4-up save, really decent. Ardboys are the other option now. They have the ability to get a ward save of 6+ with their Orruk shields, and they've got 2 wounds on a 4-up save instead. 3 attacks at 4s and 3s, no Ren damage 1 is their big sort of downside. They don't have Rend unlike the brutes. But they do have Drawn to the Wild, where if this unit's champion issues the rally, you can return models on a 4+ rather than a 6+. So they're a little bit more staying power, but nowhere near as hitty as the brutes. And they also don't have the ability to turn off the enemy's capture ability on 1 wound models. The last unit we've got here is Orruk Gore Grunters. For me, this is just a really useful unit to have. Super fast and super deadly. You almost always want to go the Jagged Gore Hackers for that Ren 2, thanks to the FAQ. They're just amazing. Rend is really important in the game right now, and having that high Rend is just the better way to go. They've got Gore Grunter Charge, where they can do some mortal wounds when they charge the enemy. But all in all, they're just a really solid unit. 5 wounds on a 4-up save. Really tough to take down. They hit like a truck. Just an all-round solid unit. Now, where do we go next for Ironjawz? Well, I guess the suggestion is actually getting more of those other options we talked about previously on the page, because Ironjawz don't have that many unit options. That was actually all 3 of the unit options there, and there's great variety in there, and you can build some really cool, interesting models just by picking different weapon options on them if you want to. For me, though, the other 2 places we can go are the other 2 available characters that aren't the Megaboss or Maw Crusher. So, an Orruk War Chanter, he pretty much buffs up your units. He can choose to do a couple of different beats, the Get 'em Beat, the Fix 'em Beat, or the Kill a Beat. And they all do a variety of different things. The Fix 'em Beat gives an extra D3 wounds back to a model nearby. Killer Beat can pick a enemy unit within 12 inch and you add 1 to hit rolls against that unit. And the Get 'em Beat, you can, in the charge phase, you can attempt to charge for a friendly Ironjawz unit 18 inch instead of 12 inch, and you roll 3d6 for your charge instead. In your hero phase, you can also pick one friendly Ironjawz unit, hold within 15 inch, and until your next hero phase, you add one to the damage inflicted by the attacks made with melee weapons of that unit from the Violent Fury ability, which you get in addition to the war beats. So a really solid, useful unit that's going to buff up your Orruks around him. The Orruk Weird Knob Shaman is the other option with the Brutal Power ability. He's not too bad a wizard. So if this unit is within 12 inch of 10 or more friendly other Ironjawz models, you can attempt to cast a Green Puke spell in addition to any other spells cast. So you can get out a Mystic Shield, an Arcane Bolt, one of the ability spells out of the Ironjawz lore, but also cast Green Puke as well, which is 2d6 range, value of 60 cast, and does d3 mortal wounds to any units it hits nearby. So a solid little spell there, and a decent little wizard with his cool ability to get an extra spell off. But where do we all go to combine this all together? Well, we've put together a little list here of what we think is a nice starting place for an Ironjawz army for Path to Glory. We've obviously gone with the Iron Suns that we've talked about, and we're in Go, just because, you know, at the moment, that's the narrative place. You can pick whatever realm you want, really. Grand strategy, hold the line, because we're just going to have so many different battle line options as we increase. I think this is just going to be one that serves us really well over time, and a triumph for Inspired. Now, we've got our Orruk Mega Boss, and he's going to be our general. He's going to have the command trait Mighty War Leader. This is when he calls the Ironjawz War, he can reroll charge rolls for all friendly Ironjawz units with 12 inch. This is just going to be really useful for making sure we don't fail any of those charges with our Ironjawz unit when we do decide to call the War. And he's got the artifact, the Destroyer, which is you can pick this once per battle and add 3 to the damage characteristic of his weapon once per game. I think this can just really swing the tide. It's a really cool weapon to have there. An Orruk Warchanter goes in alongside him as a great little buffing piece, and then we've gone Battleline 5 Brutes, but you could easily go for 10 Ardboys, whether in one unit or 2, if that's what you want to do. Jagged Gore Hackers all the way, and a Gore Chopper in there. Ren 2 is always the choice. And then 3 Orruk Gore Grunters in there as well with the Jagged Gore Hackers, and we've chosen a Battle Regiment for either one battalion we can choose for the army to start off with, just because it's really, really useful. 585 points out of the 600 we've chosen, and then 43 wounds, and as mentioned, a 1-drop, a pretty solid Orruk Warclans force to start off your Path to Glory army. Well, that's it for the video. We hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little fine community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so by following the link in the video's description to our Discord server. Lastly, if you'd like to help support the channel more, you can do so by following the links to either our Patreon or YouTube members down in the description of the video. It goes a massive way to helping the channel continue to produce the content that it does. We'd like to give a special shout out to all our patrons and YouTube members, so a special thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lyle, Outer and Shop First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Cure Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, and Samuel. And a shout out to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Rawls, Ronya, Vinny, Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Sean Scott, and Ariana Edwards. Finally, a last special shout out to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel that you see pictured here, and to Xmorphic, who does all the amazing background work on our Discord server for us. Thank you both, you do amazing work. That's it though. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Once again, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.